Hello my friends, I hope you're having a lovely day, and in today's video we are playing some Super Nintendo games. Well, we're really only playing one. We're playing Stunt Race FX because I have not played this in so long, and there's no chance I'm not gonna, I'm gonna skip over it. This is the only one I'm playing today because it's what I want to play, damn it. It's, rose-tinted glasses with this one. Back in the day, felt amazing. Now, I always went with this guy. I went as far as putting in my name, and I haven't played any tracks. That's as far as I got last time. Yeah, rose tinted glasses. I'm sure it's not going to be anywhere near as good as I at least thought it to be back then. I didn't think it was. Well, I thought it was amazing. I mean, look at it. It's clearly amazing already. I thought of it as amazing in some ways, but I didn't expect it to stand a test of time. And I already feel that that is the case. Holy crap. Oh my god, it's so much worse than I remember. So if you were alive during the Super Nintendo days, then you already know what I'm about to talk about. If you weren't, you may have heard about it. But it was a big deal when Nintendo was like, hey, whoa, 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 buddy. Nintendo was like, hey, we have this thing, and it's the Super FX chip, and it makes graphics that you've never seen before on the Super Nintendo. And you saw Star Fox, and you were like, oh my god. Or at least, I was alive then. I remember what it was like. Plenty of people were like, holy moly, how is this even possible? I don't get it. It's 3D. This is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. It really was mind-blowing, because it's obviously, you're looking at it now, it's so different from what was available on the Super Nintendo. Or at least it's, yeah, definitely from what was available on the Super Nintendo, but it's also so different from what console games were at the time. This just wasn't something that you saw. And it was purely one of those games where you're like, oh my god, these graphics are so amazing, I have to play this game. And you look at them today, and you're like, these are really crappy graphics. And beauty is in the eye of the beholder. They certainly haven't stood the test of time, that's for sure. But it's true that back in the day, they were something to behold. It was impressive. Obviously, Star Fox came before this game, and that was really the showpiece for the Super FX chip and what it could do. And I remember, believe it was the first time I even heard about Star Fox. I was at KB Toys. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I hear you back there. Yeah, I was at KB Toys. And KB Toys used to have this, like, set up in store where they'd have like a whole wall of games, and it'd be like a unit that had a TV in it, a small TV. You didn't get to play games, you just watched a VHS of different games that were coming up, and it was on a loop, like a 20-minute loop or something like that, and it would show games that you could buy then or games that were coming up. And I saw Star Fox, and I was like, what? What is this? What system is this on? And I found out it was going to be on a Super Nintendo, and Nintendo was making it. And I was like, are you kidding me? This is impossible. I can't even believe this. I remember sitting or standing in KB Toys just staring at the TV, being like, just mind blown, completely mind blown. The type of mind blown visual situation you don't get with games anymore. We're pretty much past that point, I guess maybe from, we'll say, PS1, N64 to PS2, GameCube, and that era. You would still see changes in graphics where you're like, oh my god, look at how much better it looks. But nowadays we're pretty much past that. Graphics look quote unquote more realistic, and you can only push so many polygons. It's the law of diminishing returns. But back in the day when it was NES to Super Nintendo, and then Super Nintendo throughout its life, you went from something that looks like, I don't know, Super Mario World to Stunt Race FX. What's my boost? That's boost. You're like, like I said, mind blown. So you don't really get that anymore. So just back in the day, that was such a thing. And that had me hooked to Star Fox right away, along with the fact that it was a Nintendo game. So when I got that game, it was like an event day. It was like, yeah, I'm getting the game that we've all been talking about. I am getting the game that we all ran into KB to watch the video for. It was a huge deal, and I just that it as far as my video game history goes, that is one of the most magical moments that I remember in my video game history. Putting in Star Fox for the first time and being just blown away right from the opening scene. Just like it was the fact that I had that game in my house. It was real. It existed. I was playing it. It was about to happen. It was like a religious experience from start to finish. I just could not get over it. And friends were watching, and it was one of those things where everyone is in silence because they are just it's just so far removed from what we were all used to in video games on consoles at the time that nobody knew what to say. We needed time to process it. It was seriously a thing. Like, people would ask me to bring the game to their house, or if they didn't have a Super Nintendo, they would ask me to bring my Super Nintendo and the game to the house. We did sleepovers based around Star Fox. Like, it was a major deal. It was crazy. And then you have Stunt Race FX, and it was Super FX chip, but it was taking it to a new level. Like, it was like Star Fox, certainly, but more so, it was just, more impressive because there are more quote unquote polygons on the screen, and it was pushing more and doing more, at least trying to. And you can see, like, there's more of an environment going on rather than, Star Fox has its moments where it creates pseudo environments, but this has, like, it's more impressive, more of a like an actual scene. As you can see right now, the game struggles to hold everything together. It's not. Oh god, I forgot about these truck things. I'm just going straight. I should have read the damn thing to see what I'm supposed to do. But yeah, it's not Race FX, even though it doesn't hold up like Star Fox does. I still think Star Fox holds up. Come on, truck. Come on, come. Oh dear. Well, every trucker. Oh, this thing is so sluggish to respawn. Every trucker has a good and bad day. I need some no-dos. Oh, this is bad. This is bad. This is bad. I completely forget what I was saying. Oh, yeah. Star Fox, I think, holds up today, gameplay-wise and visually. It still impresses me. This is impressive for what it managed to do on the Super Nintendo. But yeah, I'm not gonna say. I still enjoy it for what it tried to do, and I enjoy it for what it did achieve on the Super Nintendo, but I won't say to anybody, this is a must play. You have to play this game. It's a ton of fun. Star Fox, I would say, is a must play because I still think it's a ton of fun. But this is one of those games where you're like, yeah, you should fire that up and see what it looks like. Give a lap or two a chance. Ooh. And, that'll be it. Then you're done with it. As you can see, some courses, you jerk, some courses run better than others. And there's some elements that look like Star Fox, like those walls in the background. Certainly, this whole bit right here reminds me a lot of Star Fox. But it was a thing. It was a moment in history. It was a moment in games. Like, the war between Genesis and Super Nintendo was very heated. Both platform holders were trying to do things that wooed people over. And it was certainly a time where Nintendo was... Oh, that's Boost. It was certainly a time where Nintendo was very conscious of that kind of thing. So, like, if Genesis was really touting, blast processing or whatever it may be, Nintendo knew that was getting out there and making headway, and people were talking about it, and they wanted to show stuff that was like, oh yeah, well, look at what our system can do. And Star Fox was one of those games, and Stunt Race FX was one of those games, and Donkey Kong Country was one of those games. Donkey Kong Country is another mind-blowing moment in the Super Nintendo's history. That's a whole different story. I remember, I think I read about that game first, but seeing screenshots, it was mind-blowing. But then of all things, I saw a demo for the game before it came out on it was like QVC or something, or HSN, Home Shopping Network. One of those where they were playing it and talking about how visually stunning it. Whoa, how visually stunning it was. And they were playing I'll never forget it. They were playing the second level, the one that's in the rain, and they were just standing still, and like the camera was like zooming in on the TV to give you a good look at the visuals, and they were talking about how good the sound was, and the rain's pouring down and the lightning, and you hear Donkey Kong, yelling out, and I just sat there with like a glazed over look on my face. And I was like, oh, I need this game now. This is so amazing. And then again, when I finally got it, I think I got it for like Christmas or something. I put it in to play it, and it was just one of those games where you sat there and you're like had to process what was going on because it was so different from what you had seen on video games at the time. There was a moment. Same thing happened with Yoshi's Island. That used the FX chip, and it certainly did some interesting things. Not like Stunt Race FX or Star Fox or anything like that, but it did some amazing things too, and it was really cool to see. I think that's enough for today's Nintendo history lesson and my story about how old I am in a world of video games. We're going to end it there. Thanks for watching, liking, subscribing, and commenting. It's very much appreciated. Also, a huge thank you to our Patreon gang. Thank you for supporting me on Patreon. You help me to do what I do, these videos. GoNintendo.com, the Twitter, the Facebook, the podcast, all of it. Thank you for your support. I am greatly humbled by your support. If you want to learn more about the Patreon, hit up the link in the description below. I'll be back tomorrow with something. I don't know what, but I'll have a video. So until then, have a lovely day and a lovely evening, and I'll see you in a few short hours.